Hi there, I'm Stuart Ridout, the Productivity Coach, and I'm a Modern Work Customer Success Manager at Microsoft. And today I want to talk to you about meeting control and some new features that have come into meeting options within Microsoft Teams that help you to have better control over your meetings. Now, there's quite a few reasons why you might want to do this. It might be that you're an educator and you want to restrict what students can do. It might be that you are running kind of more public consultation type events. And again, you want to have a bit more control over whether people can speak, whether they can show their cameras, etc. Or lastly, it might be that you're just running like a town hall or a large meeting. And I'd say anything over 20 people can get a little bit chaotic with people having mics muted or unmuted or cameras on and off and things like this. And you might want to just add a little bit more control so that that large meeting runs a little bit more smoothly. So I want to show you those great controls that are in here. Now, I've got two personas which I'm going to be working with today. So this one is my person who is running the meeting. So this is our host, and they have invited this person here, and this person is an external. Okay, so I've tried to make it clear because we've got the word guest up in this top hand corner here, or for this one, and we've got host up here for the host one. Okay, so really easy to get into the meeting options. Okay, there's a few places though you can do it. So you could do it from within your calendar. Okay, so if you went and looked at your calendar appointment in Outlook, down here there is this option here which says meeting options. Alternatively, if you go into your Teams calendar, if you just open up that session there, okay, again, we've got it up here. We've got meeting options here. So you can do both of those before your meeting. But if you want to do it in meeting, you can actually also access it whilst you're in the meeting. If you go to the participant pane and click on the ellipsis here, there we go. There is an option here that says manage permissions, and they all take you to exactly the same place. So I'm going to click there just to show you the options. Okay, so some of these we've had for quite some time. So like who can bypass the lobby. So you can say whether everyone just comes in or whether you have only you people in your organization. That's quite common to say people in my organization and guests. Some controls over callers who dial in and things like this. But these are the interesting ones here for me is who can present, whether we allow mic, whether we allow camera for attendees, whether we allow meeting chat, and whether we allow reactions. So if you notice here, we talk about attendees. So I have done a video previously, it's on my YouTube channel, about different roles that exist within meetings. But the idea here is say who can present. And now a lot of the time people leave this as everyone because they want to have full flexibility over who can share screens, who can let people in from the lobby, who can mute people, etc. But if you're having these large meetings or meetings where you want a little bit more control, you might want to look to either say people in my organization and guests, if this is something that's external, or even specific people, and just name the people who you want to be presenters and set everybody else to be attendees. Okay, now just a word on this. If you do say specific people, it will only list people who have been specifically invited. So if you invite like a distribution list, let's say you have a list of all company and you invite them to your meeting, then you won't be able to pick out those participants. You also need to add those presenters by name onto the invite as well. And the other one as well is selecting presenters for this meeting. You notice that it says we didn't find any matches. That's because you can't pre-select external people to be presenters, but you can change them in the meeting. And I will show you how to do that in a moment. Okay, so if we just switch back to my other view, here I am. I'm on my I'm my guest, my external guest here. You can see here that I've got all of my options. So I can set the camera on and off. I can have the microphone going. I can share screens here. So I can do all of this stuff here. I can also take part in the chat. I can do reactions. And I can also see participants, and I can choose whether people are spotlighted. And I can mute people and pin them and do all of those things. Now, you might not want to have that as something that happens within your session. So let's look at how you can control that a little bit more. So the first thing I need to do is say, actually, I'm going to set the presenters to either people in my organization or specific people. So let's leave it specific people. or let's put it as people in my organization, guests. Now, if I click this, if I just switch across, you'll notice that straight away it says you're an attendee, you won't be able to share content or facilitate. So now this option to share my screen has now gone. You can also see that I'm listed as an attendee here on this side panel on the participant view. And I've lost that ability now to mute or unmute people here on the side. I don't have any details of the lobby, things like this. So you definitely, especially if you want to have tighter control over your lobby, you want to be setting people to be presenters or attendees. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to go for broke here. So we're going to say no mic, no camera, no meeting chat. So for meeting chat, you can either have it enabled, disabled, or only running while the meeting's happening. So there's no chat before or after. So we're going to say disabled. We're also going to say no reactions. We're going to do all of that. Okay. And if I just change onto this side-by-side view, you can see here, if I click save, then you can see all of these purple bars have come at the top. And if I view here, it says your mic has been disabled. You can no longer unmute. Your camera's been disabled, so you can no longer share video. You can see down in this bottom right-hand corner, my camera, where my camera would normally be. This camera here, you can see is the host. But down here, where my camera would normally be, down here, is off. You can see here up on the grey, you can see these ones here are greyed out, etc. You can see that where we used to have reactions has now just been raise hand. And if I go into chat, it says chat has been turned off for this meeting. So full control here. So now what if we then said, well, actually, we want to allow people to ask questions, and we've come to that portion of our town hall or our consultation or our lesson, whatever. So this is where raise hand becomes even more important. So we can raise our hand here. And now if I swap back onto my normal meeting, let's pop back into there, I can see there that my person's got their hand raised. So I've got a few options here. I can just say allow mic. I can say allow camera. Or I could even make them a presenter. So if they said, oh, well, actually, I've got something I want to share, then I could say, if I made them a presenter, for instance, there you go, they will get everything back. So now they can share their camera, they can share their microphone, all of those things there. And you can see there is something that says you're a presenter. Okay, and now I could then say, actually, let's get rid of that. But actually now I'm going to make you back to be an attendee. So with externals, I said earlier that you can't set externals to be presenters ahead of time. This is how you can promote them. Now, you don't have to make them a presenter. You could just say, actually, I'm just going to allow mic. And now you can see here, it says your mic has been enabled. Now, the important distinction here is we're saying the permission to unmute yourself has been enabled. What we're not saying is your mic has been enabled. So what you can't do as the presenter or the meeting organizer is unmute people's microphones or enable people's cameras. You can only give them permission to unmute or give them permission to share their camera. Okay, so loads and loads of different options there, ways that you can make people presenters, whether you can give them more permissions, have much tighter controls on how your meeting run. And hopefully that will lead to much smoother meetings for you in the future. For these large meetings, we hate it, don't we? When we're in that meeting, there's somebody who's not noticed that they're on mute, or they're doing the school run, or they're out and about on their phone and they haven't quite realised. It's very embarrassing for them. So all of this content is going to be archived on my YouTube channel. I'd really appreciate it if you could go and subscribe. So if you go to youtube.com/productivity coach, just hit the subscribe, hit that little bell notification. Then when I post longer tutorial style content, or this archived content, you will have access to all of that there. So really would appreciate that. youtube.com/productivity coach. Have a fantastic day. If you found this useful, I'm sure somebody else will. So share it with them as well and get them to subscribe. So have a great day and thanks for watching.